Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Jessica and this is Jessica's library card. So I have way too many books on my library holds list and they have all come in at the same time, which I feel like is what always happens, right? So I thought it would be fun if we went through my library holds and kind of tried to pick some possibilities for my March TBR. And then I put them all on a wheel and then spun the wheel to see how many books I'm going to read in the month of March. My goal will be to read about 4,000 pages because that's pretty doable for me, a little bit of a stretch. All right, so getting started. I have one book that I know I'm definitely going to read in March, and that is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. I don't really know that much about this book. I know that it is an Asian-inspired fantasy. I know it has a female main character, which I really love, and I don't think I've ever seen any bad reviews of this book. It is available on Kindle Unlimited, and my Kindle Unlimited subscription is going to expire on the 12th of March, and I don't plan to renew it right now because I only have Kindle Unlimited when I'm able to get a really cheap deal because it's probably not worth it for me to pay for the full price subscription. So that is over 600 pages that is going to be in there right from the bat, doesn't need to go on the wheel. I'm definitely going to read that because I only have a limited amount of time. I did request the physical book from my library for The Sword of Kaigen, but I don't know if I'm going to get that in time to kind of trade off between the two formats. My first genre is the one that I read the most, and it is fantasy. And the first book that I am thinking about putting on my TBR is going to be Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This has a 4.36 average rating on Goodreads. It's 501 pages, and it is about a 16-year-old girl who goes to a summer program at UNC Chapel Hill University and finds that there is a secret magical society. It's young adult. Again, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody say anything bad about this book. I am super excited to read it. My hold should come in from the library sometime in the next 2 weeks, so I should be able to get to it within March. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add this to the wheel. The next book that I have on my list as a possibility is The Will of the Many by James Islington. I actually started reading this book back in December and I got about 30% into it and I was just not in the mood, so I put it down. But I feel like I might be ready to pick it back up again and finish it because I've been seeing so many people have such a good time reading this book that I would like to be a part of that. So I think I am gonna put this on here. It's not quite as long as it might appear because I have already read 30%. The next book that I have that just came in from the library today is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I've been on the list for this for a super long time. It's very popular. I've seen it all over BookTube and BookTok. Has a very high rating, average 4.32. It's 399 pages, so it's not as long as some of the other books on this list. I am gonna go ahead and put that on the list. And then after that, I have Inkblood Sister Scribe by Emma Torres. I think that's how you say that. I apologize if I butchered that name. And I think this one I've been wanting to read for a long time, and I'm definitely gonna go ahead and put this on my list. And then I have The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. I haven't gotten this one in yet, but my hold says it should be in within the next 2 weeks. I really love Robert Jackson Bennett's first 2 books in the Foundry series. I still need to read the third one. But I think that this book, which sounds like a detective story crossed with a fantasy, sounds amazing. And so I would really like to read that one. So I'm going to add that one to the list. That is all of the fantasy that I have on my library holds list. So moving on, we have a science fiction book that is the next in a series, and that is Caliban's War, which is the second book in The Expanse. It is 624 pages. It's kind of a tome, but I did really love the first book, and I do really want to complete this series one day, so I'm gonna go ahead and add it, and if it comes up, I'm gonna read it this month. I'm gonna move on to the next one, which is Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh, which I definitely want to put on here, because I have been meaning to read it forever. All right, so then after that, the next book is going to be The Light Brigade by Cameron Hurley. That's another science fiction book that is, I think it's a space opera kind of about people who go through this faster than light travel that breaks them apart. And sometimes when they come back, they're not the same. And I think that sounds very interesting. So I'm going to add that one to the list. And I do have the page numbers for all these, so when I choose them, I'll be able to stop when I get to the maximum amount that I can read in 1 month. And then the next book is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. It's definitely going on there, even though I'm not 100% sure that I want to read a paranormal romance from her, but we'll see. I've seen pretty good reviews, so I'm interested. What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher, which is the sequel novella to a novella of hers that I read last year, and I'm definitely going to put that on the list. The next book is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Katherine Arden. I don't really know that much about it. I know it has ghosts in it, obviously, and I know it's set during World War I, which is one of my favorite time periods to read about. So I'm going to add it. I haven't read anything by this author before, so this would be my first one. That is all of the books that I have that I'm going to add to the wheel right now. All right, so here we go. It is time to spin the wheel and see what books I'm going to read this month. For the record, I would be happy to read any of these books, so there is no losing at this game for me. I've already entered the 651 pages of The Sword of Kaigen into my calculator on my tablet, so I am ready to start adding up pages until we get to 4,000. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna spin the wheel. All right, what do we have? We have The Tainted. I did not realize it was going to make that sound every time, but that is okay. Maybe I'm gonna turn that off. So it looks like The Tainted Cup is our first book. All right, so The Tainted Cup is 413 pages. It is a fantasy mystery story. I don't really want to know too much about it. I know that there is a Holmes-Watson kind of detective situation going on, and that's about all I need to know. I really trust Robert Jackson Bennett to write an excellent series. I feel like we're seeing a lot of these books that are kind of mystery fantasy stories. I just read The Hexologist recently, which is another one that was just a mystery in a fantasy world. And so I'm looking forward to this one. 413 pages. Let's see where we are. So we are at 1,064 pages so far. I'm gonna go ahead and spin the wheel again. Some Desperate Glory. It's a space opera. I am excited. I've been meaning to read this. I've checked it out from the library about 5 times and never gotten to it, so this is a good pick. Some Desperate Glory is 438 pages. It has a 4.06 average rating on Goodreads. I'm just going to read a little bit of the blurb so you get some kind of an idea of what this book is about. It says, all her life, Kier has trained for the day she can avenge the murder of planet Earth. Raised in the bowels of Gaia Station alongside the last scraps of humanity, she readies herself to face the wisdom, the all-powerful reality-shaping weapon that gave the Majota their victory over humanity. That sounds really good. I love a space station story. I love the Earth has been destroyed by some mysterious circumstance story, so I am really looking forward to that. We're at about 1,500 pages, so let's spin the wheel again. Legendborn is going to be the next one, another one that I have been meaning to read for months and months and months, so it is a good choice. Legendborn is 501 pages. And as I said, it's about a 16-year-old who finds a secret society while she's attending a summer program at UNC Chapel Hill. I think it sounds really good. It's the start of a series, and I don't think I have anything else young adult so far, so that'll be something that'll be a nice change. We are at about 2,000 pages, so about halfway there to picking out all the books that I want to read next month, so let's spin the wheel again. Which one is it? Oh, The Light Brigade. All right, we're going to be sci-fi heavy this month, I feel like, and that is not a bad thing. Okay, The Light Brigade has 356 pages, and it says, the Light Brigade, it's what soldiers fighting the war against Mars call the ones who come back different. Grunts in the corporate corps get busted down into light to travel to and from interplanetary battlefronts. Everyone is changed by what the corps must do in order to break them down into light. Those who survive learn to stick to the mission brief, no matter what actually happens during combat. Definitely a space opera, which is a genre that I really enjoy and have just been saying that I need to read more of. So I'm excited about that. It's 356 pages, so let's see where that puts us. About 2,350 pages, so still have plenty of room here. Let's spin the wheel. Nice. All right, What Feasts at Night, which I definitely really wanted to read this month, so I am very excited for that one. Okay, so What Feasts at Night is 147 pages. It is a sequel to, oh no, what is the other book? It's a sequel to the T. Kingfisher book that is a retelling of the fall of the House of Usher. It's What Moves the Dead. That's what it is. Okay. So it's the sequel to What Moves the Dead. What Moves the Dead is based on an Edgar Allan Poe story, and it is horror. It's very creepy. It's got a lot of just like kind of creeping dread and creepy haunted mansions and people that aren't quite right. So I'm hoping that the sequel, which is following one of the characters from the first novella, is also going to be really good. So it is horror, so it's something different from a lot of the other stuff this month, and it's really short, so I'll be able to read that when I feel like I need a little bit of break from long things. All right, we're at 2,500 pages. I'm gonna go ahead and hide that one. We'll spin the wheel and see what else I'm gonna read this month. Oh, looks like I am going to read Bride, which I don't know if I was hoping to read it or hoping to not read it. I love Ali Hazelwood. She's one of my favorite romance authors, tropes and all, love her. But I'm not sure about this one because I have seen some stuff that makes me feel like it's going to have some spicy parts that maybe are not what I am used to reading. But I am committed, and we're definitely going to be reading Bride this month. Okay, so Bride is 410 pages. It is about a dangerous alliance between a vampire bride and an alpha werewolf. I know it has an arranged marriage trope, which is one that I do enjoy in romance novels. And I'm sure it's going to have all of the signature Ali Hazelwood wit and charm and all of that. I always find her books to be just super delightful. So I am excited to read this one. Okay, so looking at the books that we have left, the ones that I really wanted to choose. I really want to read The Warm Hands of Ghosts because that's a new release that I have been really excited about. So I'm hoping that one of the next two books is going to be that. I'm hoping it doesn't pick the space opera because I already have one. So we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Oh, no. I did this to myself. It's so much space in 1 month. So we'll see. We'll see. So I know that that is 600 pages. And it is the sequel to Leviathan Wakes, which is right there behind me, which I actually really loved. So I don't know why I made that face. It's just a lot of sci-fi in 1 month. And last month I read zero sci-fi. So maybe it's time. All right, let's see what I'm going to be reading for my last book of the month. All right, and The Warm Hands of Ghosts. Very excited. Let's look at that one. All right, so The Warm Hand of Ghosts by Katherine Arden is 325 pages, has a 4.25 average rating on Goodreads, and it reads, during the Great War, a combat nurse searches for her brother, believed dead in the trenches despite eerie signs that suggest otherwise, in this hauntingly beautiful historical novel with a speculative twist. That sounds perfect for me. So I am going to go ahead and put that on my list. All right, and that takes us to 3,865 pages, which hopefully is a number that I'll be able to get to in March. I am hopeful that I'm going to be able to get through a lot of books in March. I am off work the last week in March for spring break because my partner is a teacher, so I usually like to take a lot of the school breaks with him. So I am going to have hopefully a lot of reading time that week, but we do have some plans, so we'll see if that works out for me or not. Looking through this list, I'm actually pretty excited. I got some really good choices, I feel like. Really excited to start with The Sword of Kaigen and read that first. I still have one more book to read in February. I've got 4 more days in February left right now, so I'm hoping to finish that and then start The Sword of Kaigen on the 1st, on Friday this week, and kind of try to read it through next weekend. But we've got fantasy, lots of sci-fi, 3 sci-fi books. So I feel like this is going to be a sci-fi month for me, which I am really here for. I always say that I'm a big sci-fi fan, but then lately all I've been reading is fantasy. And I was just talking with my boyfriend about that last night, about how I say I like to read sci-fi, but then I have not been reading any sci-fi. So I am really glad that this wheel has forced me to put some of these books that I've been meaning to read on my list. I'm also very excited for a new T. Kingfisher book because always a hit. I am nervous but excited to read Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And yeah, I think it's going to be another fantastic reading month. And I'm hoping I'm going to be able to stick to this TBR and get through as much of it as I possibly can. I got through so much of my TBR last month, which was so exciting to me. I didn't think that it was going to work, but turns out that when I have a plan, I'm more likely to follow it. You know, I feel like there's a life lesson in that I am probably not going to learn. All right, so it looks like that's it. I hope that you all have enjoyed watching me pick out my video. I actually really enjoyed doing it this way. I love watching people pick their TBRs using different games and things like that. So I thought it would be fun to try something where maybe it wasn't entirely up to me. Let me know what you are planning to read in the month of March. I would love to hear if you have any new releases or old favorites that you're planning to get to. If you have enjoyed the video, please go ahead and subscribe, leave a comment. I would love to talk with you about books. And I hope that you all have a fantastic reading week.